you trying to stop me from feeding my daughter and feeding my unborn kid? Going on live saying
Joseline Hernandez tagged the FBI directly in a public tweet with Lemuel Plummer's name attached to it. Trafficking allegations included, and that was not even the biggest move she made. She announced a documentary called Surviving Zeus, where she plans to put everything on record. This was not a vague emotional rant. This was a calculated public escalation that went all the way to federal level, and Lemuel Plummer did not stay quiet either. He came back with a detailed response that created its own headlines. So today, we are going through exactly what happened, what was actually said, who said what, and why this situation is nowhere near over. Joseline launched her own streaming platform called Why Are You Here TV in January 2026. That is where everything broke open. Joseline claims that the moment she launched her own platform, Lemuel Plummer cut off her contract payments. She called it illegal. She said Plummer told her husband he would not fund their business, told them to take their content down, and did all of this while she was pregnant, after she gave Zeus 7 years of her life. Joseline also claimed that the payment dispute escalated to the point where she had to seek medical attention, meaning a pregnant woman ended up in the hospital because of this situation. That was the base level, a payment dispute. But Joseline did not stop there. Joseline tagged the FBI directly in a tweet and claimed that Plummer is trafficking young ladies across country lines like Puffy, and accused the Zeus Network CEO of human trafficking, all the ladies from the network. She called him a predator, said people connected to him were calling her phone, making threats, claimed he physically assaults Scotty and Jane Yesha, and dropped one of the most shocking claims, that a dead body was found in the Zeus Network office. Alongside all of this, Joseline was reportedly preparing to file a formal complaint with the Miami Police Department. And then came the legal move that most coverage skipped over entirely. Joseline posted on Threads showing 2 federally registered trademarks. One for her name, Joseline Hernandez, and one for Joseline's Cabaret, both registered with the USPTO back in July 2023. Her caption read,
use my freedom of speech
Zeus
for the shit that he's doing
and
to me.
Lemuel Plummer
I've been
coming
doing to
soon to Why Are
fuck
You
you,
Here?
Lemmy.
Take it up with the government of the USA. She was not just venting. She was laying out legal documentation in public. Plummer did not go quiet. And his response was not just a flat denial. He came back with specifics. On the trafficking allegation, he said directly, "You accused me today of threatening you physically, which has never happened. I have never physically threatened you. I'm not even a violent person. You accuse me of being a predator. You accuse me of abuse physically, emotionally, mentally, and even said that I'm sex trafficking women, which is so egregious, it's so ridiculous, and it's completely false." He also addressed the FBI tag specifically, tagging the FBI and asking them to come get me instead of going to the police with actual information and evidence. That alone should tell people everything. This is beyond ridiculous, reckless, defamatory,
you trying
and
to
it's
stop me from
honestly
feeding my
sad
daughter
that anyone would
and feeding
believe
my unborn
something like
kid?
this.
Going on live saying
On the payment claims, he was equally direct. He stated, "The idea that she hasn't been paid is ridiculous. She's been paid well beyond standard fees, along with additional support, opportunities, and residual-style payments we've consistently honored." On the trademark and ownership argument, his response was firm. "Joseline, public narratives don't override contracts. Trademark filings do not determine ownership of a series. Agreements do. The rights to Joseline's Cabaret are clearly defined, and we will proceed accordingly." Then he flipped the narrative entirely and made claims about Joseline's behavior toward him and his team. Plummer alleged that Joseline made death threats against his pets, threatened to attack his brother, attacked colleagues while under the influence of substances, and that her behavior toward him, his team, producers, and talent department had been abusive for years. He brought up a Miami arena event where Joseline got arrested as part of this pattern he described, and he closed with this on her new platform: "I'm very proud of you starting your network. do it. Go do it. But we have to honor the agreement. That's it. It's that simple. This is the context that most coverage is completely leaving out, and it changes how you look at everything. In 2024, former Baddies cast member Stunna Girl publicly accused Plummer of underpaying employees, fostering a dangerous work environment, and engaging in sexual relationships with cast members. In a separate legal
unlimited
petition,
value.
former reality star levied severe allegations against Plummer and his producing partner Natalie Nunn, accusing them of sexual assault, coercion, and sex trafficking of prospective cast members. Plummer has consistently denied all allegations of abuse and illegal activity. So Joseline's case is not an isolated incident sitting by itself. It is landing inside an existing pattern of allegations against the same person, from multiple different people connected to the same network. That context is critical. Joseline announced she is working on a documentary titled Surviving Zeus, where she plans to detail her experiences involving Zeus Network and Lemuel Plummer. The name alone is doing something intentional. Surviving, the same framing used in Surviving R. Kelly, is not a random word choice. It places Joseline within a specific survivor narrative before a single frame of the documentary has even been seen publicly. That is strategic communication. That is understanding how media shapes public perception before legal proceedings begin. If that documentary gets made and released with documented evidence, witness accounts, and a clear timeline, it becomes a public record. Something journalists can reference, something investigators can look at, something a jury could potentially be aware of. The social media posts started the conversation. The documentary, if it actually comes out, would be the structured case. This is the part of his own response that keeps standing out. While defending himself and Zeus Network, Plummer made a statement about the Cabaret girls that he probably did not intend to read the way it reads. He wrote in his Instagram stories, "In our view, they were never truly positioned to outgrow or outshine the lead, and at times were not treated in a way that reflected their value." That's exactly what we're changing. He said this as part of defending the network and announcing that Cabaret girls would be moved to other Zeus shows. But read it again slowly. The producer of the show just admitted, in his own defense, that the women on that show were not treated in a way that reflected their value. He used those exact words. That admission is sitting inside his own response to trafficking allegations. Fans are saying that sentence alone is going to follow this case wherever it goes next. As of the reporting available, no public records exist showing criminal charges or a federal case tied to these allegations. Tagging the FBI on Twitter and the FBI opening a federal investigation are two completely different things. The Miami PD complaint is reportedly being prepared, but has not been confirmed as officially filed. On the ownership dispute, Joseline registered trademarks for both her name and her show in 2023. Plummer says contracts override trademark filings. That specific argument about who actually owns the Joseline's Cabaret intellectual property could become a significant legal battle entirely separate from the trafficking allegations. The defamation threat from Plummer's side is real. If he moves forward legally and can demonstrate that Joseline made knowingly false statements that caused measurable damage to his business, and given how fast and wide those allegations spread, he has a case worth taking seriously. What is clear right now is that both sides have gone so public, so specific, and so far that a quiet, private settlement feels almost impossible at this point. This is heading somewhere official. The only question is, which legal arena it lands in first. Joseline's supporters have been loud and immediate. Their argument is straightforward. A pregnant woman had her payments cut off, ended up in a hospital, and is still standing publicly and not backing down. To her fan base, that reads as someone telling the truth, because lying from that position at that personal cost does not make sense to them. The more skeptical crowd is pointing to the FBI tags specifically. Their argument is the same one Plummer made. If you have real evidence of federal crimes, you go to law enforcement with that evidence. You do not tweet at the FBI. That specific move has given people who were already skeptical of Joseline's history of public conflicts a reason to question whether this is strategy over substance. What is genuinely cutting through both sides of that debate, though, is the fact that other people have already made serious allegations against Plummer before Joseline ever did. That is not something either camp can easily argue away. Multiple people, multiple incidents, same name attached to all of it. Joseline registered trademarks for her name and her show in July 2023, 2.5 years before this public explosion happened. That means while she was still on Zeus, still producing the show, still in a working relationship with Plummer, she was quietly registering legal protection for her identity and her content. That is not something you do randomly. That is something you do when you are already thinking about a future where you and the network are not aligned. She was protecting herself legally long before any of this went public. So, the real question underneath everything happening right now is not just who is telling the truth about the trafficking allegations. The real question is, how long has this actually been building? What happened in the last few months that made right now, the moment everything came out? And what documentation is Joseline sitting on that made her confident enough to tag the FBI publicly while pregnant and still not walk a single word back?